There is a game taking over the sports world, I guess is probably the way to say it. Anybody that's a sports fan, I feel like, is playing a game similar to this. I don't know if it's the actual process that got us here, but it started, at least in my friend group, with an MLB version. And of course, because it was MLB, and I'm like, that my MLB trivia is next to zero when it comes to anything outside of the Phillies. So like, not my game. But I was like, you add an NBA or an NFL version of this game, and like we're talking. And of course, thanks to some Twitter exchanges, I was made aware that there is an NBA version of this podcast. Of course, this podcast is NBA. This game, and it is called Immaculate Grid. Kevin, have you played anything like this before?
Well, yeah, we played it. Didn't we play it a few weeks ago? Or we talked about it a few weeks ago? What version of this did we do?
So we did, that one was the dribble game. Which
that's where you had to connect the teammates, right?
Yeah, so actually, hold on. I might be able to share that too, because I conveniently also had that link just also here. So for example, today's grid, if I could bring it up.
I played the NFL version of the grid, for example. This is the game we played last week. Okay, where you're connecting the teammates. I have played the NFL version of the grid. I'm the same boat exactly, because this was the MLB thing, is Immaculate Grid where it started, and I'm in the same boat with you. Like, I watch MLB, but not nearly enough to remotely be good at it.
Yeah, knowing who had like how many strikeouts in a season on the Padres,
right?
Like, nah, man. So the dribble game question today for the podcast listeners, you got to connect Brandon Ingram to Royce O'Neal through mutual teammates.
I think this is actually really easy. I think or for me already, I'm pretty sure it's Jordan Clarkson, because Brandon Ingram played with Jordan Clarkson on the Lakers, and Clarkson played with Roy O'Neal on the Jazz. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Hell yeah.
You got it right there.
We should definitely play the grid though.
Okay, let me pull up the grid, because the grid's a lot less forgiving.
Well, it just prevents that, like, where there's one where it's just like, hey, I happen to really just know that offhand.
I know it. So if you can see it here, if this makes sense to you, Kevin, you have to connect. You have to find a player in each square. So, for example, that first square there would be what player played for the Clippers and the Cavs.
So let me explain it. I'm going to visualize for everyone who's on audio right now. Obviously, we'll watch the show on YouTube at Drive-In Dish Podcast. You'll see this. So Immaculate Grid, it's a 3x3 grid. So imagine a tic-tac-toe board, right? And so on the left side right now, from top to bottom, you've got Clippers, Hawks, and undrafted. And then on the top across horizontally from left to right, you've got the Cavs, the Raptors, and the Warriors. And then again, so like, for example, the third square on the right, like the top right, is a match between the Clippers and the Warriors. So in this instance, I mean, I guess he isn't really suited up yet, but we could do Chris Paul in this instance. He just got there.
I wonder if it's updated. Hold on. Because I'm not actually positive if it didn't count it.
Okay, so let's refresh this then.
I don't think it's counting
this then, so I get my guess back?
Reset. Here we go. Yep, we're good. We're back to 9. So I don't think it counts
off the rip, but that is good to know. Okay, because he hasn't played yet.
I don't think it's I think it's not counting next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to cop out that bad. Okay. So
right off the rip, getting it wrong.
All right, so I'm going to start with some of the easier ones I know we're going to get right. So, for example, with Raptors and Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is one of them. And we're just waiting for this to go. Leonard.
There we go. I just went with Kawhi. Yeah, I probably should have done that.
That usually is probably better. Okay, cool. So there we go.
The other thing, Kevin, that's kind of cool. You can see how it says loading up there in the corner.
Yeah.
In a second, it's going to give us a percentage, and that's how many other people playing this game have also guessed Kawhi Leonard. So there's another little game that you can play where you guess like the lower percentage at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like who's obscure, for example. Okay. So do you want to? I just guess Kawhi. Do you want to guess one? Is there one you're 100% about?
I should be. That's what's pissing me off. Here's the problem, dude. With these games, like
Because I got a
I
second
quite
one. Because
literally go. Okay, go. You're heating
no, my
up.
bad.
You're heating up.
I mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying when I play these games, I go brain dead. So like it takes me a second to like get there, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, the Raptors and the Hawks is Lou Williams works.
Oh, Clippers and Hawks?
No, the Raptors and Hawks.
Oh, Raptors. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, right below Kawhi.
Lou?
How many
Probably just went with
are there? So is this post 1999?
That's a good question. It does not say. Oh, hold on. This might be able to tell me.
The NFL one is,
no.
And so the NBA one may not be, and so like I'm more just curious in that regard. Okay. Let's see. Undrafted. We can do
the undrafted one. That is what's going to get me.
No, see, the undrafted for the Raptors is easy because it's Mr. Bet on himself, Fred VanVleet.
VanVleet, you are right.
I'm cooking, Justin.
Wait, Freddie?
No, it's one. No. It's one. Yeah.
I was like, it's not a. I'm surprised the loading's not changing for us. You are just honed in on the Raptors.
Yeah.
Undrafted that was on was Caruso undrafted or was he drafted?
Caruso, I feel like was undrafted, but he was on the Warriors or the Cavs. What was he? No,
he was on the Cavs, wasn't he?
No, he's on the Lakers and the Bulls.
Lakers. I was thinking LeBron and was thinking Cavs. You're right.
No. Different LeBron title.
Different LeBron. Cavs undrafted.
The Hawks and the Cavs, I think I have one, but I want to stir on it a little more.
Who are you thinking?
Did Jeff Green play for Atlanta? Oh, no, never mind. I have 100%. Hawks and Cavs, do Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver played for both, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. What about Danny Green? Was he Cavs, Clips, Warriors? I feel like Danny Green's on every team.
Danny Green is playing for the Cavs now. He definitely played for the Clippers. He might be on. I think Danny Green. I don't remember if he was drafted or not. I feel like he might not have been. I'm not 100% to guess it though. Warriors undrafted. Did Gary Payton II get drafted? I don't think GP2 got drafted.
Gary Payton?
Yeah.
Oh, it would help if I put a G.
The second, of course.
The second? You want to try it? You feeling good?
I do, yeah. Hit me.
Yeah, okay. Good.
All right. Okay.
All right. So for podcast listeners, we still need Cavs Clippers connection. We need Clippers Warriors connection. We need Hawks Warriors connection, and we need Cavs undrafted.
Okay. I'm not trying to steal the thunder entirely, but I think
you're running the table though.
Warriors and Hawks, I think, is Zaza Pachulia. Try that.
Warriors and Hawks?
Yeah, ZAZA.
Dude, I forgot about Zaza. Forgot about Zaza.
How can you forget? He knocked Kawhi out.
I know.
They're still bitter about that, as they probably should be.
They are. I'm bummed we're not seeing I'm bummed we're not seeing the percentages at the moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised. A lot of them have come. I don't know if it's just glitching this time around, but I've seen the percentages come up quick. All right.
Yeah.
Cavs and Clippers, we should be able to figure out. I'm just trying to run through the right now, I'm running through players that played with LeBron, because there were a lot in the rotating cast of characters over those Cavs teams. I'm trying to think, because the Clippers, there have been so many guys there now too. And then for the Cavs, undrafted. trying to think of like who cracked their I'm trying to think of like younger guys have cracked their rotation. The problem is a lot of them have been lottery picks. I don't think Chetty Osman was drafted. He's not there anymore, but he was. Try Chetty Osman for the Cavs undrafted CEDI.
Here we go. Nope.
Oh,
okay.
Man. Oh, brutal. Okay, that's the first miss. So that means we won't be perfect.
What about wait. Our boy back in the day with LeBron from Australia. Was he drafted or did he
from
what's
Australia?
his name?
Oh, Delva.
Yeah, he wasn't even from Delhi. Was he drafted?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's probably a good one.
Delhi?
Yeah, guess Delhi. You might as well try it. See, this is the risk though. This is always the risk when you spend too much time on one is again, you can punt two, obviously, then.
How did he spell it? D-E-L-I? D-E...
No, D-E-L-L-A... Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. D-E-L-L-A-V-E-D-O-V-A.
Yep.
Yes!
Okay, good
okay,
guess,
I contributed. I feel good.
You're on the board. All right. Man, that stinks that we're not going to get, because I feel like, oh man, that stinks we missed that one, because I feel like we could have gone 9. Now we won't even get to guess on both of them. Okay.
Baron Davis?
You know what? You read my mind, Justin. That was crazy. I was literally thinking that same thing. You're right. For Baron Davis for the Clippers and I was going to say, oh yeah, Baron Davis did play for the Cavs, didn't he? Jeez, I was going to say he played for the Warriors and the Clippers. I was going to guess him over there.
Which one do you want to do? Which one do you want to guess?
100% about the Warriors and the Clippers. I don't know about. I feel right. I think the Cavs is 100% too, but I know I'm right about the Warriors because they had the We Believe years, and then he was on the Clippers for a little bit.
So let's go Baron Davis, Warriors, Clippers as our last one, since it's not going to let us guess another one.
Yeah.
Deal?
Yeah, absolutely.
We had it.
There we go. All right.
Wait, is it? Oh, try again tomorrow. Boo.
Can you reset it?
We got all but one.
Or is it gonna? Can you reset it and see if you get Baron Davis on the other one?
Let's try it. Reset Baron Davis just
for the sake of getting one. Oh, because he would have applied there too. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he would have. That works. At that point,
that's amazing.
Man, at that point, that's a shame we couldn't use Chris Paul on that technicality. That would have been a real slick way to go.
That would have been it.
But either way, I'm glad we didn't embarrass ourselves. More importantly, I think that's the most important thing here.
I mean, you quite literally did all but one. The only one I was able to contribute was Delhi.
You got your boy Delva though. That's huge.
Yeah. So
that
there
is very
it is.
On brand as well.
Right. So we will. I can't wait to be able to guess Elfrid Payton on like Orlando Knicks connection.
It's going to be there at some point. Listen, it's going to come up. But real quick before we obviously, we got a couple things to talk about later, but we do want to mention in warm-up jumpers too. Dejounte Murray signing a 4-year extension worth up to $120 million. A ton of incentives baked in there. But stay with Atlanta. This is a guy that they traded a lot for. So, kind of worth the payoff there, at least to get him to come back. But, a little bit of a mixed bag last year. I think at times that he and Trae Young probably didn't give you the results they wanted each other. But at the same time, you got into the playoffs. You won the play-in game against Miami. Obviously, we know how far they ended up going. Competitive against Boston. They certainly showed spurts of it at times of what they could be as well. And more importantly, they brought Quinn Snyder in, who I think is a really good coach. So I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of rumors about them moving him already, which I felt like would have been premature just because, give them an off season to work together. That trade initially with San Antonio was kind of late in the off season. But I feel like if you're Atlanta, you have to do this. And I don't foresee his value plummeting too much in the grand scheme of things, that even if it doesn't work out, between him and Trae, you have some optionality there if you want to move on.
See, I feel like their duo might have been a little slept on. I mean, I was reading stats that him and Trae are the second set of teammates in NBA history to average at least 20 points per game, six assists per game, which are the only other teammates of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. He was one of only 3 players in the NBA this past season to post averages of 25 and 5 and 1.5 steals. It was him, Jimmy Butler, and Paul George that did that. So like, I feel like you hear a lot about Jimmy Butler, obviously, from the playoff run. You hear a lot about Paul George because he's a name. And then Murray's kind of like, if you had told me he was on that list, I wouldn't have believed you until I looked at these stats when I knew we were going to be talking about him today. So I feel like when I first heard this, it's like, okay, is this a good move for Atlanta? Do we think it's a good move for Atlanta? Bringing him in through the 27-28 season with this deal. And it's like, yeah, I think we saw a flash of what him and Trey can be together with a new coach. And I think you try to build around that going forward. So just locking him in before he goes and hits unrestricted free agency next year, you might as well grab it, right?
Well, and I think from his perspective too, I mean, this is a guaranteed, let's say roughly $30 million a year, assuming he gets all the incentives. He could have very well tested this in free agency next year at a time when the cap is going to go up. And I know with the new CBA, there are certainly plenty of other wrinkles in there, but that guaranteed money is obviously super important. And it seems like he just wanted to play in Atlanta as well. Like that certainly is what the implication is when he opts in like this and doesn't test the free agency market, because I think he would have been, he still would have been sought after, put it that way. Like, I don't think his value would have tanked this year.
And I read that him and Quinn Snyder have a good bond. They were saying he really likes playing with Quinn Snyder. So if that's the case, then might as well stay, lock it up, and here we go.
Yeah, and I mean, they made their bigger trade already is getting John Collins off the books too, but that kind of gives them some optionality as well to bring Okongwu back, to bring a guy like Sadiq Bey back. Hunter's been really good for them, especially last season. I thought was really solid for them. So yeah, I think you want to see that continuity play out. Again, you brought in Quinn Snyder pretty late in the season, so you give him an off season with this roster. And I'm okay not making any grand pronunciations on this roster. Like, I still think, again, you need to see more out of this Hawks core going forward to justify keeping it together, because it is kind of expensive. But at the same time, like when you make a big swing like trading for Dejounte Murray, I want to see a little bit more before I just blow it up already.
Yeah, I completely agree. And honestly, I think it's underrated, their duo, from the standpoint of the disappointment around the beginning of the season, probably a little bit, and then how much they turned it around. I think people kind of just wrote them off and then got infatuated with like a Jimmy Butler and a Heat team that was obviously surging in the playoffs as well. So like, you don't go back and look and say, man, this Hawks team, while it's hard to say they overachieved, this duo is showing phenomenal flashes, and you would imagine being able to build around that's a lot easier than starting from scratch.
Yeah, it was just too much ball watching at times. And like you said, you want to see what you have before you blow it up. If you want to start from scratch, that's fine. And there are plenty of negative reasons about this core and knocks that you can have about the past few seasons following that Eastern Conference Finals appearance a few years ago to have rightful questions. But you're right, starting from scratch, especially when you guys have, not just DeJounte, but Trae Young as well. Like, I don't think you just hit that button immediately. Like, you definitely weigh it all out. And I don't think they're intending to, because you don't hire a coach like Quinn Snyder if you're intending to blow it up. You get somebody who's there to develop a little bit more. Like, Quinn Snyder's a win now guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think we'll see that next step from them, this coming season. And I'm excited to see what it is, but hesitant because I don't want it to affect the 76ers. So.
Yeah, that might be the craziest. I don't know how you looped it. That was an all-time yoga stretch to get the Sixers in there somehow. I'm impressed. I get it. They're in the same conference.
They're in the same conference. If they're doing better, then that could potentially mean the Sixers are doing worse. So
that was a collective groan from everyone. Sorry, pal. I can't let you get that one off. Welcome everybody to the Driving Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host, The bucket hatted Justin Kuzar today.
Bucket hat's necessary when you're going on vacation, but the tweet is reinvent yourself.
Is that what you in the bucket hat? I thought that was you were going to tie that in. Is this a reinvention?
Yeah, reinvention. I'm thinking, bucket hat, buckets. Nah, man. So my wife and I are going on vacation next week, and my daughter has some bucket hats because obviously she can't be in the sun. She is not even 8 weeks old yet. So the bucket hats, we decided to get some matching ones, and I'm going to be able to match her. And I just happened to put it on because it was super wrinkly when we got it, and I'm trying to get it unwrinkled and make it fit my head before we're on vacation.
No, I never think you thought you'd have to break in a bucket hat like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like I get it with the fitted sometimes,
Dude, it's kind of like
but
I don't know how to explain it. Like you see, it's like folded. Like you know what I mean? Like it's still pretty wrinkled. So I gotta try to break it in a little bit and at least make it fit. What I would love for it to do is to look more like flat. Like when I'm putting it on right now, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like looping down. I think that's what bucket hats are supposed to do. So who knows?
What who's trying to reinvent themselves here?
Oh, Bobby Portis.
Great. Wait a minute. Bobby Portis just got paid. He's an NBA champion. What's he trying to reinvent himself for?
I don't know. Also, by the way, it's something I've never actually talked about on this podcast for however many years that I've been reading NBA player tweets. One of my favorite things to do is read those tweets, and then usually the reactions, like the comments, are pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Elon didn't totally nuke Twitter, and it would be even funnier because now you just have a bunch of people that pay for it up top, so it's not even the funniest stuff anymore.
Yeah, on this one, on Bobby Portis saying "reinvent yourself," he goes by official poll man. He says, "F guys, Bobby's leaving."
Oh, I never mind. I thought Bobby was calling himself official poll man. I'm like, Bobby, hang on, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Hey.
Yeah,
no,
relax. But no, shout out to Bobby Portis. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
Yep, and of course we are on YouTube. You can always find us. Just search Drive and Dish NBA on YouTube. You can find us there. And if I can pull it up quick enough, I'll be able to say where we're at. We are at 57 subscribers, so we are looking for number 58. If you would like to be that one, we'd appreciate it. You'll also get notifications on when episodes will be coming out because we premiere the video version, so you'll know when the episode is out and you won't miss an episode.
Yeah, 58, a lot better NFL number than an NBA number. I'll just leave it at that. We'll have to really dig. We're struggling for Hall of Famers here a little bit. And now a word from our sponsors.
So we come back with the Grant Williams trade. He was traded Boston. It was a three-way trade, but essentially Celtics acquiring a few pick swaps in the second round and third round. I guess it wasn't necessarily surprising considering Grant Williams posted like a goodbye to the city of Boston before even really being traded. And in it mentioned that he would like to play for a team like the Mavs. So here we are. How do you feel about it from the Mavs perspective? Do you think it's as big of a hit as I guess some are trying to say it will be for the Celtics side of things? Do you think they'll feel it on the defensive side? Obviously, he's not the only defensive player to leave Boston, so that could also be a bit of a reasoning.
Yeah, I mean, I think first to break the full trade down, it's so the Mavs get Grant Williams, they get 2 second rounders. The Celtics get 2 second rounders and the pick swap in 2025 for the second round, and then the Spurs get Reggie Bullock and an unprotected 2030 first round pick swap with the Mavs, which that's wild that we're trading 2030 picks. Like that's just I had a moment to think about that one.
7 years. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, landing Grant Williams and getting him to agree to the extension, which you knew would kind of be part of this deal. But I think this makes a lot of sense for Dallas. Like when you look at what their issues were last year, it's that they couldn't defend anyone. Well, what can Grant
Yep.
Williams do? He can defend and he can shoot the three ball. Like I thought, I mean, obviously, his all-time performance in Boston was the game 7 against Milwaukee a few years ago, right? But to me, yeah, his toughness, his leadership in the locker room, like, I know he's had some kind of moments too where, the Jimmy moment, I'm going to make both these free throws and then he misses both of them. But at the same time, like he's a competitor. He's the type of guy you want in your locker room, and he's the type of guy that Dallas was just missing last year. Like we know they have a clear top 2 now that they brought Kyrie back with him and Luka, but it's about filling out that roster. And you see them
Hmm.
trying to go in that direction too by, for example, like with offering Matisse Thybulle an offer sheet, certainly a defender there. I know Portland matched, so they're not bringing him in, but you start to get a vision of what Dallas's roster is going to look like, and it already just infinitely makes more sense than it did last year. I think this is a really good pickup for Dallas. It makes a lot of sense. Overall, I mean, I rank this because for San Antonio, I think this is a big win too, because I think Reggie Bullock in a veteran sense will help your young locker room. And I think that he'll still also have a lot of value at the deadline. Like he's somebody that could really be shipped out to a contender. They're always going to want guys that can shoot the basketball. Reggie Bullock can undeniably do that. To me, if anybody, the loser is the Celtics here. Like 3 second rounders, and I know you're going to have to pay him, so it maybe keeps the books open a little bit. But I don't know, trading Grant Williams for second rounders when you're still trying to win with this core and this established group. Al Horford's getting older. There is some uncertainty with Jaylen Brown and how that's going to play out. And just from a locker room perspective as well, like you've now traded him and Marcus Smart in the same offseason. Like those are guys who meant a lot to that locker room the past few years. Your core's still locked in, but I don't know that letting Grant Williams go, and he was miscast at times. Like it felt like he was in and out of the rotation this past season in Boston.
Yeah.
So like that is worth mentioning as well. But I'm a little disappointed for Boston in their return. Like I love this trade for Dallas and San Antonio, but I feel like Boston could have done better here, and something that maybe helps them win a little more now when they're actively trying to win.
Well, and maybe it will be able to down the line, because the plus side, right, for Boston is they now have a more favorable pick swap, right, between Chicago and the Pelicans for that 2024 second round pick. So
Mhm.
both teams have potential to not be great next year. So that could put you in a better spot. You never really know where those things land up. And then obviously the same goes for the Celtics in 2025. They have the more favorable second round swap from Washington and Golden State or Detroit. So I get what you're saying. Maybe they end up being able to use that to flip into getting better players. But the fact that they have that leverage, if they can't end up flipping it out, then they can get maybe up a few more draft picks to maybe fill out a few other players that they need, position wise in the next few years to really get them over that hump or really provide that extra depth.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's for certain is this is the biggest shakeup we've seen here in Boston in a while. Like I think it already was with Smart, but this is a
Yeah.
substantially different team than the one that made the finals here a little bit ago. And you bring in Porzingis. There's a lot of upside there as well. We're going to see. I mean, a lot of that is they're going to need Porzingis to play well. I think that's a big thing for them next year. They gave up a lot to get him,
Yeah.
and now bringing him on the extension here. The upside is certainly there. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be super negative about it, but it will be an impact of how much Boston can withstand a little bit. They are giving up a lot.
So the other player, or I guess person in the NBA that is getting themselves a ton of money is Greg Popovich, agreeing to the richest NBA coaching contract with 80 million over 5 years. Doesn't surprise me. He just got Wemby, so why would you be, bailing now?
Did Pop sign himself to this? Like,
Longest.
that's my thing. It's like he's been there forever.
What?
What he ink himself to the contract? Is this the Spider-Man meme essentially?
Pretty much. But here, listen, this is the thing. Like Wemby's there. until maybe even until we knew for sure that the Spurs were getting the number one pick, I think people were still talking like, when's Pop gonna retire? When's it happening? He just got that shot of I was gonna say an energy drink that I'm sponsored on my radio show. I'm not gonna say that. He just got a
that's
shot
right.
of Red
Tell him
Bull.
to cut. They gotta cut the check here. That's right. You can't. We cross it over yet. Cut the check.
But he just got the shot of Red Bull, the energy drink. Like he's ready to go, get Wemby going. The longest tenured coach in the league's going for another 5 years. Like, let's go.
He's got
Pop's
that.
Only missed the playoffs with the Spurs 5 times, so we'll see how quickly him and Wemby can get it back and running. And maybe Reggie Bullock is one of the players that gets him over that hump, because we just talked about how they moved for him. But it's good for Pop, man.
Yeah, I mean, most of the years with them missing, it feels like it's been recently. Pop's definitely got that youthful glow. I'm really not trying to be morbid, but like there's a greater than zero chance that Pop just kicks the bucket on the sidelines one day. Like that man is never going to retire now. Like now that you got Wemby, and why would you? Like, and that was kind of the question is when, the 5-year extension takes all the uncertainty out of it, right? Like I figured even when he got Wemby that, you know what, maybe he still only has 2 or 3 years left in him. Maybe he gets the initial years of Wemby. He starts really grooming his assistant for whoever is going to take over this position. And then more or less he appoints his successor.
Hands it off.
But I think now it's, he's going to look, and why not? Like if you have this truly generational prospect, like ride it out. Like why not see what happens? We know the development is there. Obviously there's a ton to be excited about with this roster going forward. It does. I mean, this is a franchise that frankly has been kind of stuck in neutral since Kawhi left. They've been good, but they've always been kind of just they not good enough to get over the hump. And then up until last year, not really bad enough to be in the tank race either. But, before last season, obviously trading Dejounte Murray, not to bring it back to him again, was the big sign that they were going on the tank, obviously paid the ultimate reward. And look, if you're Pop, again, generational prospect, you've got plenty of other young guys to be intrigued about. I think in a way, Pop enjoyed being around the young guys. Like it felt like even last year going into the season when you actively knew they were going to be pretty bad, like he was still excited about it. He never had that that miserable mentality. And I mean, hey, part of that's easy to do when you've won 5 titles, but there are some guys who like that, who really can't stomach that losing. I think Pop truly enjoys teaching the young guys the way of the NBA as well. And so, I think, I mean, Pop is a legend. It goes without saying. He's on the NBA's Mount Rushmore. So I think everyone in San Antonio is thrilled to have him back.
Yep. And, to that, we talk about Wemby and a little bit of the summer games as we wrap up the episode here as we get towards the end of it. Wemby, obviously everybody's been posting the video of him getting crossed up and, if you want to call it getting bullied a little bit, you can call it that. But his final numbers from 2 games was 36 points, 20 rebounds, 8 blocks, 3 assists on 41% shooting from the floor in about 54 minutes in 2 games. So to me, pretty good showing from a number 1 pick rookie for the Spurs. Like I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, 27 and 10 in his second game. Like my biggest takeaway is that the Wemby dialogue is going to be exhausting because every bad game is going to be scrutinized and every good game is going to be overreacted. And it's just that's what's going to happen. Like when somebody is a prospect that's this talented, that's just the way that it is now. But bummer that he's going to be shut down for the rest of the summer league. I can't say I'm terribly surprised. And
as Sixers fans, like I understand.
Yeah. And I mean, largely in general, I just think, I mean, injuries have unfortunately been the theme of this, right? Like Scoot Henderson, man, awesome debut, lit it up, looked like the guy. Like the Blazers already have their next, I don't want to say Damian Lillard replacement, but like you've got your next guy you're going to build around. And I still think they do, but like awesome first game, done for summer league. Like got a little injury, he's already out. Amen Thompson, same deal with Houston, gets hurt, out for a little bit. I'm glad to see genuinely Brandon Miller settle out a little bit and start to get some consistency there. He really looked rough in his first 2 games. And I know, it's already tough slogging for him in Charlotte because there are a lot of people that didn't want him there at number 2. And Obviously when Scoot Henderson comes out and just lights the world on fire, his first summer league game too, that doesn't really help with your mentality. But it's good to see him get back going a little bit. Obviously still a little bit to go. I don't have any extreme overreactions yet. But I'll be watching. It's good to see.
The only reaction I have is apparently this was the Summer League opening weekend was delivering record viewership for ESPN and its networks, and that's phenomenal. I had some coworkers joking about how they were getting push notifications from ESPN for Summer League, and they were like, "Man, it must be slow times in the sports world." And I'm like, I get what you're saying, but I also think you're underrating how fun Summer League actually is. And that was met with some arguments on social media, as most of those things are, but that was fine. And so, it is what it is. I enjoyed every minute of it. My other little side thing I want to mention, because we are a basketball podcast and this is like sort of basketball, I'm also low-key really excited for Slam Ball to start back up on the 21st.
I don't know nothing I know it's back. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what TV it's on. I always wanted to play
ESPN.
Do we think this is going to do well? Like I'm sounding like a hater. Yeah. Never mind. I'm hating already. I got
you are hating, but it's understandable. I think if I remember correct, and this could have been a wrong narrative that I just heard as a kid or something. I thought it stopped because there were some really, really, really bad injuries. Because imagine you're dunking and then landing on surface that's not that's too flimsy.
Yeah, so, and the trampolines, you have those hard portions around the edges. Yeah. That's the thing I worry about more.
I'm pretty sure there were some real bad injuries that ended the season and the whole thing. So I'm very interested to see how it goes. I'm definitely going to watch it because I'm going to be on vacation. So I'm going to probably be a degenerate and gamble on some of the games, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for more Summer League. It's good. All is good.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. It is definitely the slow season, right? I mean, you got MLB's on, WNBA's on. If you're into tennis, you've got Wimbledon's going on right now. I mean, golf is on at this point. F1's on. Everybody's watched Drive to Survive, including me. Drive to Survive is low-key incredible. But we don't need to talk about that. That's an entirely different podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. We appreciate you guys, as always. Again, leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We will read them on the show. Anywhere you find a podcast, you will find us.
And find us on YouTube. You can search Drive and Dish NBA, and you can subscribe there so that you can know when other episodes are coming out.